Stuart, did you ever conduct any DACT while in Germany?
Oh yeah, all the time. It became bread and butter. You would often do, you would come across combat air patrols. We had Phantoms, the F4s, 19 and 92 squadrons down at Wildenrath. They would carry out low-level combat air patrols, the German Air Force, the Dutch Air Force. So all of the time you came up against potentially some affiliation scenario where a potential aggressor aircraft would attempt to engage the force that was coming towards it, be they the ground attack aircraft in the form of the Jaguars in my day. So yes, it was routine. Initially, you learn how to go through the techniques and procedures that are required in order to engage or to try to defeat these aircraft. But your rule one of the fight is avoid it if you possibly can, and then if things go downhill from there, then to try to negate the threat that's being brought up against you. So a FIL was a very important part of your training.
So how did the Jaguar fare in DACT?
It depends on the. Well, firstly, as I've said, rule one of the fight is to try to avoid it. Firstly, if you were seen, the first thing you had to do was try to turn towards the aircraft that was presenting a threat to you. As I said, the Jaguar was pretty down on power, and you needed the afterburner an awful lot. You needed to use it in order to get the turn performance that you needed, particularly if you were at heavy weight. It didn't turn well at all at heavy weight, and this is where the relationship of understanding angle of attack and how you're manoeuvring the aeroplane, particularly on the limit, came to the fore, because it was very easy. The aircraft would buffet anyway, and all the usual clues and physical symptoms of operating an aircraft on a limit that you'd learnt during training now didn't apply anymore. The Jaguar had its inherent characteristics, which, as I said, could result in loss of control of the aircraft if you weren't careful. So you manoeuvre on the alpha limit depending upon the configuration and load at the time, and just did your best. If you're up against an F-16, not good. If you were up against an F4, if you could, the idea is to get separation between you and the aircraft that's trying to engage you. If you can do that with the best will in the world, then ultimately you might survive. But it wasn't a comfortable aircraft to conduct DACT with.